to the PesterLine podcast. Sans mustache again, unfortunately today.
Yeah, Chips is off traveling the world again.
Yeah,
No, I think he's just in training today, but
yeah, he'll be flying on an airplane, but he'll be back this weekend actually, so it'll be nice, and we're gonna do something special for you guys this weekend. It'll be quite fun. It'll be exciting to do that as the playoffs inch ever closer. All 16 teams are now decided who's going to be in the playoffs, but seeding is all that's left, so that's all we got to worry about there. Same situation, though, is already done in our college world as the DU Pioneers, baby.
number 11.
Let's go. Led by a 20-year-old 5'10 freshman in net and Johnny Hicks.
Undefeated this season, by the way.
Yeah, the 16-0-1, the one being that it had to go to a shootout that they won. Unbelievable performance from the team. That is a game very similar to, I believe, 2022 against Minnesota State. Outshot for the first 2 periods of the game, and then absolutely found a way to win that one.
It was, I hated it because both games there at the end were almost exactly the same.
Yep.
But they got doubled up in shots, had no business winning either of those games. And yet, here we are.
Right? And it was the youth movement. A lot of freshmen, a lot of guys come in from the CHL, OHL junior system now that they're open to being able to play in the NCAA. But it's a beautiful thing. That Michigan game was insane. 52 shots on goal.
Hated every second of it.
Stressed out to no. And then something the Avs used to do in the mid-2010s is lose backside contain, and Anderson's wide open. And he buries it. And
yeah, what did they say? That's like his second career collegiate goal or some crazy thing. Like,
yeah,
the dude doesn't score really at all, but when he does, he makes it count.
Right. And I will say I liked what man, why can't I think of his name now? The captain said at the interview between periods with Charlie Cohen, who Butcher Gross had to remind us played at BU, and played a lot of BU. Butchie, stop. But I like what he said. Going into the third period, he said it's a one-shot game. One shot changes the entire complexity of the rest of the game.
I mean, it was super interesting to watch because it was 2 totally different styles in that game where you had Michigan just every time they saw the net, they shot the puck.
Right.
And DU was frustratingly like waiting for them to make a mistake or looking for the perfect, at least like that's what it seemed. It was like they were waiting for a mistake to happen to capitalize on something or waiting for like the perfect opportunity. I mean, it worked.
Yeah, they play counterattack hockey from what I've understood.
But God, is it hard to watch.
Well, in Big Ten, I'm learning from this. Big Ten hockey is hit you all the time, very physical. I will also say the goal that Wisconsin scored in the championship game, Prime was not stopping that shot.
Yeah,
that thing was nasty, and it was led on a drive. They pushed the net, they pushed the pace, and they scored. Like that, it's as simple as that. And DU looked tired. They looked like a team who just played a 2 overtime game a couple nights prior.
Yeah, weird how that happened.
Yeah, but found their sea legs when they needed it most. A lot of people I'm looking at internet conjecture and conversation are like, well, why has no one looked at Johnny Hicks? Why is he undrafted? It's because he's 5'10".
Yeah, it's tough now in the NHL. Everybody wants a 6'2", 210 goaltender who's incredibly athletic. And
right.
That's not to say Hicks isn't. Obviously he is, but he's really tiny.
Right. And if you noticed, and I think Butchie called this out in the broadcast, Wisconsin spent most of the time trying to shoot high.
Yeah.
Which could be a benefit to a short goaltender. You know where they're going to shoot. They're going to shoot high on you all the time because you don't cover the same amount of space as a 6'2", 220-pound goaltender would.
Much like we learned in our NHL game experiences, if your goaltender is 6'2", you're going to win a lot of games.
Correct. We have a theory in the video game world that if your goalie is 6'2", you're safe. It's like the perfect height Weight doesn't really matter. Just like they have to be about 6'2", and it works out nicely in that regard. But good to see Hicks getting the most outstanding player of the tournament. I think he kind of deserved it considering he faced the most shots of anyone in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he faced the most shots, even just if you take the last 2 games. Like, it doesn't – you can go back to the regionals, and I think even in just the last 2 games, it seems like he faced the most shots.
Yep.
If you combine everybody else from the beginning of the tournament.
I mean, he
At
faced
least
52 shots in one game.
At least that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody playing DU is going to face the most shots, that's for sure.
No, they don't shoot a lot. They kind of remind me of the Avalanche in that regard. In the middle portion of this year, they've been shooting more, which is nice, but still. One of the other takeaways from the tournament is now that guys are out, guys are committing back to schools, but the Avs did pick up TJ Hughes.
Which I like.
Me too.
I don't necessarily. It's so interesting to me how much pull the Avs have with collegiate players. Because you look at the history of the Avs, and there's always at least 1 or 2.
Logan O'Connor
that make the roster almost every year.
Yeah, O'Connor. You've got Newhook.
I mean, they tried with Ben Myers. It was super hit or miss.
Malinsky too, right?
Yeah, Malinsky was undrafted.
So you have those opportunistic players who get a chance, and if they prove it, I mean O'Connor, part of some of the best DU squads of our generation here in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
so that's something to talk about for sure.
Let's see here. But yeah, going out and getting TJ Hughes, I think, is huge because, and I almost hate to say it, but I think it allows the Avs to almost makes Ross Colton expendable.
Yeah.
I think because, you get his contract off the books, bring in an entry-level deal, save some more money, then you can try and go out and get like a top left-hand defenseman to pair with Makar as Taves declines, which even Taves declining is still a top D-man on at least half the teams in this league.
Which is the scariest part. Like,
but I
Makar
know
had a down year, and he still had some of the best scoring and best opportunities in the league this year.
Yeah, but it's like, I know it's, you look at it, a lot of people are probably looking at putting like Malinsky with Makar, which I don't think would be necessarily a bad thing, but you really need a solid, more stay-at-home, younger, better Manson to put with Makar.
True.
And that's where, honestly, a lot of people that I was seeing on like message boards and stuff were wanting the Avs to go after Buckberger.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the way the Avs are built, and I think their draw for undrafted collegiate guys is the fact that there's openings at the forward position.
Right.
And you don't see a lot of top teams in the league give those opportunities to those guys. So I think that's where the Avs have that extra edge on other teams, just because I know TJ Hughes was being looked at by 4 or 5 different NHL teams.
Okay.
Vancouver was one of them, and obviously that's a train wreck, so who's going to sign there? But you look at the Avs, and you're like, okay, well, you see guys like Ben Myers and O'Connor getting their chances that they did, and you see how well O'Connor stuck with the team. You see how much of a leash the team gives these college guys. So, like, cool, this team is competitive. They want to win now, but I'm still going to get my shot to make the big team.
Right.
And not spend 6-7 years in the AHL while I wait for McKinnon to retire and Landeskog to retire and all these guys to just leave, and then all of a sudden we're at the bottom of the barrel. And that's where I think trying to sign a guy like Buckberger is hard.
Right.
Because on the defensive side, we don't quite have that.
No.
You're not you don't have a lot of room on the back end. I mean, for one, you have less positions there anyway, but you still have McCarr for 9-10 more years at least.
Yep, get that deal done in the off season, probably July 1.
I don't think you're gonna. So Buckberger's not gonna have that spot to try to play
because he's a right shot D, right?
Top pairing minutes, I think so. So as much of a draw as the Avs are for college free agents on the forward side, it's harder to get the defensemen in because, number one, what we're looking for, we need good defensive left-handed guys to play with McCarr.
He is a left-handed shot.
So, that would have been great to bring him in, but he's not going to take Taves' spot on that line.
No.
He's not, if you trade Colton out for a package of picks to get that cap out, you can go out and get an NHL-level left-handed defenseman to play that top spot.
That wouldn't be a bad move.
With, maybe packaging like a Nichushkin or something, and then that gives Hughes an opening to step in and show what he's worth.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that on the back end.
No, I don't. And, I mean, a lot of commentary about the decisions we made on the back end this year alone have been a big, huge question mark overall. But
I will tell you what, though, it was hilarious watching God, I lost my train of thought for a second there.
Soloviev?
Well, that was an experiment. I didn't hate it
right
very much, but I don't know, it just didn't work out.
Right.
But you look at God, who was playing the third pair last game? Blankenberg and
Achin.
Sean.
Sean, that's his name. Damn it.
That's why I couldn't remember what it was.
Sean.
But you look at those two, that has to be the smallest defensive pair in the NHL.
This is
Jack hilarious.
This is actual size. He is a very small defenseman.
God, it was hilarious to see that because they're both like 5'9", 5'10", maybe on a good day.
Yeah, and both vastly undersized for what you're looking for in not vastly undersized, but modern defensemen you're looking for a little bit bigger. You're looking for a Miro Heiskanen, a Cale Makar, and Adam Fox,
which is interesting because 6-7 years ago everybody wanted that 5'9" mobile puck moving defenseman.
Everyone wanted Tyson Barrie.
And now everybody wants Josh Manson.
Yep.
Everybody wants a Josh Manson who can skate and stick handle like Cale Makar.
That would be nice. I would like that. You know what defenseman is like that, but not in the NHL, is Megan Keller of the Boston Fleet, who have lost the first overall seed. What is going on in the PWHL?
Was Aaron Frankel been sitting a few games, or
maybe because they clinched pretty early? They're only 4 points out, but they also have a game in hand. So
that's true. I think they are still either the lowest goals against or like second lowest goals against, something like that.
Second lowest goals against, behind the victory of Montreal by 4 goals. I think they've had a little rough stretch here in the last little bit, which is part of it.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Can anybody dethrone Minnesota?
Minnesota currently in third. Ottawa holding on to the 4th playoff spot right now, fending off Toronto. No team has been eliminated yet. I will say it's very funny to hear the head coach of I believe it was the Walleyes, or not Walleyes, sorry, the Goldeneye. I'm on no sleep, folks. I apologize. Complaining about travel for the Seattle and Vancouver teams. Like, we're at the bottom of the roster, and I don't remember who it was in particular, but someone from the Boston Fleet was like, "We all have the same travel schedule. Like, I understand you have to get us to the East Coast, but like, we have to come to you too."
Yeah, and like you're also like doing the takeover tour. Like you are not playing all of your games against Boston in Boston. You're not playing all of your games against New York in New York. But also as fans of a team in Denver, I don't want to hear you're complaining about travel.
We have the most distance traveled of any team in any in any sport. We have the
Yeah,
longest
'cause
distance to
it's-
travel.
I mean, you look at the map, and it's like, especially for baseball,
Because
like-
there's nothing.
it's like us, and then there's just nothing.
Vegas will help this much.
A little bit. I mean, yeah, it's hard to care about baseball right now, but when you're talking travel,
Yep.
Yeah, of course the Eastern teams are going to have it easier. They're first off, they're smaller geographic markets. They're smaller states. There's less distance to travel, and I don't want to hear it.
No. To put this into perspective as well, another comparative stat: the Denver Nuggets played 18 back-to-backs this year. That is 4 more than any other team in the NBA.
No, it is absurd how many back-to-backs Colorado teams have every year.
And still finished in 3rd place, despite not having a full roster for a majority of the fucking year. So
Yeah, it was like 3/4 of the year they didn't have.
Yeah.
At least didn't have a full roster.
Aaron Gordon and Cam Johnson missed a combined 5 months of the season.
It felt like the Avs a couple years ago.
Right.
It was just like, cool, here's the Colorado Eagles.
Yeah, where everyone was hurt for extended periods of time, and it was key factor players,
Yeah, and you'd get-
important pieces.
Yeah, it was like you'd get a guy back, and then 2 more would get hurt.
Right.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, they started the year with the full roster. With this full roster, they were 16-3. And then Christian Brown got hurt. And then Cam Johnson went down. And then Aaron Gordon went down. And then Jokic got taken out by his own dude for a month. Anyway, that's a whole other story for a whole other episode. For that other podcast I do called In the Paint or whatever we'll call it. But that does lead me to another question and something that kind of ties into this. The injuries with the Avalanche. And, man, Jared, I'm glad you're okay, dude. That was scary.
Burn those Nordiques jerseys.
Yes.
Holy hell, are they cursed?
That should be the only one we ever see.
I did see an interesting stat about those jerseys.
What's that?
And I don't remember the exact numbers, but because we played 8 games in those this season, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. We went 2-4-2.
Somebody threw out a stat line that was like, these jerseys are absolutely cursed, and here's my proof. The last 8 games that the Nordiques played before they moved, they were 2-6.
Yeah, it was not great.
So, I don't know. It just continued. Don't bring the maroon ones back.
Yeah, bring different ones back.
Don't wear those ones. They're cursed.
Let's see. So this is for the 30th. So for the 60th, bring back the blueberries. Something different.
Yeah, I don't know. Those were cursed too. Those were bad. I didn't hate the jersey design, but man, were those bad.
But speaking of curses, the Avs have clinched the President's Trophy.
Hell yeah, clinched everything, nothing to play for except another trophy in McKinnon's case, hopefully.
Yeah, we're hoping for that Rocket playing tonight against Calgary. If he can get a cushion tonight, he doesn't have to play against the Kraken on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm hoping. Okay. So President's Trophy curse has been a very hard sentence to say, apparently, for me. But has been a huge topic of conversation across all of Avs Nation. And NHL markets all over. Everyone's talking about how it proves that the Avs are a first-round exit, second-round exit. Doesn't matter who they play. They're not going to win the Cup because no team has done it since that Chicago team in a strike-shortened season in 2013.
Yeah.
Now, we also have lost in that stretch. We've won a President's Trophy in that time frame. Finished in the second round. But there's a caveat. The last time the Avs won the President's Trophy with 50 or more wins was that 2001 championship team.
Yep. Now I was going to say, President's Trophy, curse or not, the Avs have already broken it once.
Correct.
So it doesn't apply to us.
And
also, the other time, because we've won the President's Trophy 3 times, I think.
yes.
4 times now.
This will be the 4th.
So, okay, you look at it, and the one we won in the 90s, we ran into the 90s Red Wings team. Like that, you can't call that a curse.
Correct.
Like,
Because they were the 90s Red Wings.
I mean, let's be honest here. When we won the President's Trophy, I think it was 97. We ran into Detroit. Like, what are you going to... No. That wasn't because we were cursed. That's because we ran into Detroit.
Right.
And the mid-late 90s Detroit teams were... If it wasn't for them, we would have so many more cups by now.
And then look at Detroit missing the playoffs. Oh, no. They were in first place.
Oh, the Eisner plan didn't work again.
Oh, man. And they're going to give him one more year, it sounds like.
That's crazy. Crazy.
I love, like, sports curses. I think.
Can we trick him into trading a cider?
Oh, my God. That answers your left-hand D problem, I think.
Hell yeah, it does. I'll put him with McCarr.
Jesus Christ, Maurice Sider's really good at hockey. I also think Evan Bouchard does not deserve the Norris, but that's a whole other conversation for a whole other episode. That's like the fourth time I've said that today already. But like trophy curses, I feel like are all mental. Like you think about it, it's all in how you approach it. It's in your head. It doesn't help that after we clinched the trophy, we lost Manson, we lost Bednar.
Yeah, it's tough when your coach goes on the IR.
Yeah, and that was a very Vegas-y situation. Not saying it was intentional, but it's Vegas and everything's intentional. I'm kidding. I'm kidding 100%. No, Vegas fans, don't come for me, please.
Or do. I don't know. Maybe it'll up our engagement a little bit.
Whatever. Bring it on.
Yell at us in the comments.
Yeah. I get frustrated because, like, you push this narrative. Yes, granted, it's been 13 years since it's been done. But doesn't that mean it's time for it to be broken?
Well, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where, like, sports are very superstitious. But you look at the conference trophies, touch it or don't touch it. Look at the last 10 years. There's no pattern.
Correct.
I mean, you look at when Pittsburgh and Detroit were going, like, 3 years in a row against each other. It was like the first year, I think they both touched it. The second year, like, neither of them touched it. And then, like, the next year,
I think Crosby touched it.
Pittsburgh touched it, and Detroit did. Like, it doesn't matter. I think, like you said, it's something that's just in your head if you think about it too much. I think the problem with the President's Trophy is it puts a target on your back,
right?
And everybody wants to beat you. So even if they're not going to win the cup or don't think they can make a deep run, they are going to throw everything at you when they get you in the playoffs.
Especially if you are a last team in situation. You are trying to make a name for yourself.
Like when we played Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And they haven't been back since. Ron Francis got fired finally.
Well, Haxtell's back in the playoffs now.
Yeah, he is. And he's still hasn't really fixed the power play, but it still looks better than it did.
I mean, it's still like top 5, top 8-ish since the Olympic break, which, you know what? Fine.
It'll help when Makar gets back, too, because it's been interesting watching. I mean, they've looked decent. It'll be helpful when they get Kadri and Makar back and maybe, I don't know, just keep it going.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting right now because I know Bednar said if it was game 1 of the playoffs, they'd all play, which is, you know, why I think they should just bubble wrap everybody for the last couple games.
Give McKinnon 2 goals and then don't shift him.
Give McKinnon like 6 goals against Calgary.
That'd be nice.
In the first period, and then just send him to the locker room.
Yeah, and just give him the rest of the night off.
Just don't even worry. Don't risk a damn thing.
Yeah. You don't want Adam Klepka coming for him.
Yeah.
We've already had that happen once with Makar. We don't need it again.
Oh, man.
But I think the other part of it, too, yeah, sports are always going to be superstitious. Every sport has weird superstitions. Baseball players don't touch the lines when they run in from the dugout. You know, pitchers are the worst, as you well know.
Yeah, they are. Even the youngins.
Yeah. What was yours? You always had to throw high and inside on the first guy?
Throw up and in. If it hits him, it hits him. But it'll scare him off the plate.
Yeah, and that happens for the whole team.
And if you went out there, and my dad coached me on this, so thanks. Throw it close enough that if you hit him, it doesn't look like it's on purpose.
Correct.
But if you hit him, especially at 10, 11, 12 years old.
You're wild anyway.
if you hit a guy on the first pitch you throw, the rest of that team ain't going to crowd the plate anymore. And at that level, the other thing that my dad told me was like, at that level, if they're crowding the plate, hit them.
Yeah, why not? Don't give them any space.
Oh yeah, you know what? Screw it. Grab the plate. That's my plate. That's my area.
Oh man, there was something that happened in one of the games recently that I wanted to ask you about, and I've already forgotten. Damn it! It had something to do with a hit.
I was gonna say, was it Altuve getting picked off at first against Seattle? Because that was incredible.
That was the best pickoff I think I've ever seen. Ever.
That was so perfect. I love it.
He got statued.
Then all the comments were like, "Oh, I guess your electric buzzer shirt doesn't tell you when they're doing a pickoff move, does it?"
Oh, that's what it was. Actually, it was about baseball. The issue with Jazz at second during the I think it was the Twins-Yankees game. He was telling the hitter where the batter or where the catcher was setting up.
Oh, relaying
signs essentially, and then the pitcher got all butthurt about it. But then he later apologized. He said it was all gamesmanship. But like, I get both sides. But like, Jazz is easy to hate for some reason.
That is one thing though. Like, more broad, just baseball as a whole. Even growing up as a pitcher, if you are at second base long enough to figure out what my signs are,
they're yours.
What am I do about it? That's my fault for not changing signals when you've been at second base for 20 minutes. Like I hate the stealing signals is wrong mentality. I think when you have a camera set up in center field,
that's different. Technology making it easier is different.
I think using trash cans and buzzers and cameras in center field, no, don't do that. But if you got a guy sitting in second base that can figure out what the signals are coming from the catcher, go for it.
Yeah,
that's part of the game. If you can figure that out, that's your fault as the battery for not mixing it up.
Right, and that's also why I think it's okay to pimp a home run.
100%. Celebrate it. That's like one of the hardest things to do in sports.
Exactly. And you know what? If a pitcher's butthurt about it to hit you next time, that's because he's soft as baby shit.
Look, I might hit you, but I'm just pissed at myself at that point.
Right.
And it doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that you pimped the home run. Like, celebrate it. Because I'm going to celebrate striking you out.
Mm-hmm.
So why shouldn't you celebrate putting one 500 feet deep?
The one that I always relay back to is 2014 Jose Bautista. Because Bautista got fucking missiled the next time he faced the Rangers. I'm sorry. We hadn't been... I'm a Blue Jays fan, so I say we in this regard. We hadn't been to the fucking playoffs in 21 years. And that dude sent us to the second round for the first time at home after we blew the lead.
God, that was incredible.
It was the... Anybody would pimp that home run.
That's
one of the best bat flips in history. That thing went into the third deck.
He's been part of two of my like top 10 baseball moments.
Is the other one when he got punched in the face?
When his glasses got sent into orbit.
Rougned Odor, as much as I hate you for that, that was pretty fucking fantastic.
God, that was hilarious.
The Rockies are actually playing really good baseball right now, and it's weird.
Yeah, God, they're like hovering. They're hovering around 500 for a lot of the beginning of this season.
They won 6 games for the first time in the first 12 games of a season since like 2014, was it?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. They wiped the Jays with the floor. That was frustrating as all hell, but I'm going to say this right now. The Jays are down 3 primary starters. So Savage is out. Barrios is out. So
how do you feel, speaking of the Rockies, about the new minority ownership?
Phenomenal. And I'll tell you why. As a Broncos fan, one of the biggest things that comes from this, and we can talk about this from the relevant nature of the Avs and Nuggets as well. When you have an owner who gives a damn, when you have ownership that cares, your team begins to play better. one of the things that people forget about the Broncos post 2015, up until 2 years ago, they didn't have an owner. They had a trust of children.
They had a bunch of children arguing about who should own the team.
Precisely. And that leads to dysfunction from the top down. It's the reason why a lot of franchises, I'm not going to name any, the A's, deal with, or the Canucks as well, deal with issues all the time. It's the same reason I don't think the Oilers will ever win a cup in the current administration is they don't know how to bring proper talent in because ownership is inept.
It just doesn't feel like there's a game plan.
Right. So I think Monfort finally saw the writing on the wall that he is a target. And he is disliked by a majority of the city of Denver, not just Rockies fans.
Yeah, I mean, almost, I would say at least half the state at this point.
Right. So to make a good faith gesture, and this is what I think is going to happen. I think Monfort's getting to the point where he doesn't know if he can really maintain keeping the team afloat, especially if it's going to come to a lockout season or strike season in 2027. That I think the Penner Group will end up buying the majority stock of the team. Monfort will keep a small morsel of it over the time, but I think the Penners will eventually buy the team and improve the team. And I think that's where it's going to come because they have deeper coffers than Dick Monfort does by a long shot.
Yeah, we might actually spend a little bit.
But that's what I'm saying.
In the right way, because, like, the Rockies are an interesting anomaly because you get a lot of people that are complaining about them not spending money and not going out and paying for these free agents. But they do. It's just Chris Bryant.
Right. Or Ian Desmond.
Like, all right, those would have been good pickups 15 years ago.
Right.
And now you're going to turn around and give those guys $150 million. Like, what do you... Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
And that's where the big question marks come in about why I think this is a positive move for the Rockies. Like, now, granted, I think bringing in Paul DePodesta and bringing in a competent general manager group...
Finally bringing somebody in from outside the organization can only help.
And I'm wondering if that was... Like, this Penner deal felt like it kind of came out of nowhere, but I have a feeling it's been in the works for a minute.
As out of nowhere as it seems, I feel like it was just kept under wraps. Because, like, with the whole stadium thing happening, it's not... They're not going to make a big deal about it.
No.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, they bought 40% of the Rockies. Fucking what?
Yeah, and but the best part about it is I think it shows me as a fan of teams in the city. Now, I am not a Rockies fan first, but I am from Denver. Grew up here, spent my entire life here. I root for the Rockies. I respect the Rockies for what their god-awful heritage has been here. They did go to a World Series. They got to a championship before the Nuggets did.
Well, they were physically present.
Emotionally, not so much.
I don't know how much we want to say they were there for that because
Boston doesn't even count 2007. Let's just put it out there. And Matt Holliday was out. Anyway, but the whole point of that is like it's proof that good ownership matters. What the Cronkies have done with the Avalanche, the Nuggets, the Mammoth, the Rapids, Arsenal, the Rams, even they've invested. They've finally. I think Josh finally made his dad realize you have more money than any human can ever imagine.
Spend some of it to make these teams good, and you'll make more money.
Right. And on top of that, use your venues properly. Yeah. SoFi gets Super Bowls. Ball Arena hosts tons of events. You own those outright. That revenue comes back to you, and when your teams are good, you can charge more for that shit. It sucks, and eventually some fans will get priced out.
Unless you're Toronto and you just don't do anything ever and keep raising prices.
Yeah. Steve, if you're watching this, I agree with you. I just bought tickets to go see the Blue Jays and Yankees in June. For fuck's sake. I bought so okay, let's do a hypothetical, shall we? For 12 tickets to a Rockies game, in the seats next to the bullpen, how much do you think those tickets would be?
Crisp high five and a 5 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not much.
They'd probably be like $40 a seat.
Yeah, because God, what a rock pile ticket's like $5 and
Right, and you get a hot dog.
yeah.
For bullpen seats at a Blue Jays game, granted they are playing the Yankees, so there's probably some inflation in that regard of like matchup balancing. We paid $2,000. $2,000.
Woof.
Yeah.
Man, $2,000 you could buy out Coors Field for a Rockies game.
Yes, you could. You could buy out the entire beer deck for
Holy
$2,000. That's like for 12 seats. So, thank you, Rogers Center, for hosting us. That's very nice of you. But Jesus Christ, Rogers, come on. And on top of that, the Rogers organization now owns all 9 teams in Toronto. At least our ownership is divided between, like, even if the Penners buy the Rockies, ownership for all of our teams, including the NWSL team, is 4 different groups of people. So that helps.
I just can't wait for the Penners to buy out the rest of the shares.
I think it's going to be a few years. I think it's going to be post-stadium build.
Well, I mean, yeah, they got to get that figured out.
Yeah.
Which is a mess. But
yeah, don't say anything live on a podcast. That'd be detrimental to all of our health.
No, it's just hilarious seeing like the backlash that everybody has about Burnham Yard all of a sudden. And I was like, nobody cared about that place.
Nobody knew where it was
for years. Like I drive by it every day. It's a dump.
It'd be a great spot for a stadium.
And now all of a sudden,
it's protected land.
It's historic. Like, look, that's not really the problem. The problem is it's contaminated. But that's
shocking.
That's a different.
Is it?
That's a different discussion for a different type of podcast.
From the Arsenal?
No, it's just from all of the stuff that's happened there. And
that's true.
It's been a train yard forever.
Oh, okay.
True. It's not like radioactive contamination.
Oh, just gross.
It's just it's contaminated, so like it's going to take longer to get rid of stuff and whatnot. So so like you care about it, but you didn't care enough about it to do anything until somebody bought the land and was like, I want to build something here.
Why would you want to build something here? And it's the same people who are complaining about it being moved to Lone Tree.
Yeah. Do you want it to stay in the city?
Yeah.
Because it's either that or way out by the airport.
Yeah. Which is funny that you say that because for all of you Denver folk, Elitch's is probably going to be moving for the 3rd time in its history to build a new practice facility and work-live loft spaces in the Ball Arena area. But it could mean a PWHL team.
Which will be nice because then maybe all of the little kids tournaments can go at the practice facility at Ball Arena, and I won't get bumped for a whole month from my beer league for tournaments and holiday tournaments.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Brent Burns of beer league hockey.
Sure.
What's your Ironman streak up to now? 45?
I don't know. I've missed a few games.
God damn it!
I don't have a good Ironman streak going. I think I'm at 4 now.
That's another question. We can close on this. Brent Burns, does he come back for another year to break the record?
I think so.
I agree.
And honestly, I hope he does.
Do you think he comes back with the Avalanche?
I hope so.
I think he's proven he could play at 42.
Because even if you bring him back and he declines off of his second prime that he seemed like he was in at the beginning of the season, just put him on the 3rd pair with Manson. And then once he hits
67?
Game 62 next year?
Yeah.
62 or 63 next year. You can start using him more as a 7D for the last 20-ish games of the season. But he's perfectly serviceable as a 3rd pair guy, as your number 6 with Manson, that just shut down line. I know recently he's had some real stupid turnovers, but so is McKinnon.
Yep. Nobody talks about that part.
I see so many people complaining about Burns and his turnovers. And, they're stupid, and it's bad when your defenseman is doing it. But how many blind passes has McKinnon sent across the slot? Just
too many.
Or stick handling himself clear out of the play. Like you can't talk shit about one and not the other, especially when one is supposed to be a top 2 player in the world.
Right.
Like,
and the other is a 41-year-old defenseman who is, by the way, one of the only defensemen in the entire league who shoots the friggin' puck every time.
I love it so much.
He puts the puck to the net. How many assists do you think he has this year just by putting the puck to the net?
Oh, at least 75% of them.
I would agree.
Are just because he was like, cool, I got the puck, it's going that way. And I love it because it seems to have changed, and I think we've talked about this before, but it seems to have changed the entire defensive core's attitude towards just dumping the puck into the corner, where now a lot more shots are going somewhere around the area of the net.
That's why Blankenberg scored the other night.
Yeah.
He took that shot, and by God, that was a beautiful shot, too. Holy shit.
It's like, just let it go. Just put it on net and see what happens. Because half the time it might take a weird bounce and go in.
I want to check something really quick before we call this. We need to do the 2 stars of the podcast.
Well, real quick while you're looking that up.
Yes. Do you have something else?
I just want to touch on this real quick.
Okay.
I know we're going to do a deeper dive into this a little bit later once the matchups are set in the NHL.
Yes.
But as of right now, biggest surprise for the playoffs.
Oh, man. I was looking up Sam Malinsky's goal total, by the way. I think he can surpass 15 next year if he just shoots a little more. He's at 8.
Also,
biggest
Parker Kelly, 20-goal scorer. Hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I love it. God, Parker. I'm part of the Parker Kelly fan club. To me, overall, biggest surprise. I have 2, if that's allowed.
Sure.
Buffalo winning the Atlantic, out of fucking nowhere. Ending a generational streak of the Jets are now the longest.
Yeah, God, what was it? 14 years or something like that for Buffalo,
and they made the conference finals that year. So that's another thing. And then Ottawa, finding a way to sneak in at the end. Great job by them to find a little bit of spark near the end, despite injuries across the board. Scary moment for Kachuk a couple nights ago. I'm not a huge Kachuk fan, but I'm glad he's okay.
I don't dislike him enough to wish crazy ill will against him.
Correct.
He's the kind of guy where it's like I need him to get hurt just enough to miss games against the Avalanche.
Yeah, I would agree with
Not like career ending or anything crazy like that.
No, just uncomfortable.
Just like be uncomfortable enough that you can't play against the Avs.
Yeah, a little tweak or something. But yeah, I would say for me Buffalo and then Ottawa, just because Buffalo looked like they were dead in the water a few months, even before, and then Kevin Adams gets fired. They bring in Jarmo Kekalainen, and they get a GM bump.
Yeah, and then they run like 12 in a row or something crazy like that.
What about you?
I mean, Buffalo, obviously, because I didn't see them even sniffing the playoffs this year. Like, okay, maybe they might have like squeaked in as that second wild card, but the fact that they dominated, they're over 100 points, they won the division. Anybody says they saw that coming, you're a goddamn liar.
Or you are the most diehard Buffalo Sabres fan in the history of life, and you're still a liar.
But I am super stoked about it. I think the other thing that surprises me a lot is looking at the Kings' regulation wins.
Oh, yeah. Because they, 30?
21 last I checked. They have 21 regulation wins last I checked, and they're in the playoffs. That is insane to me.
Yes, they have. Hold on, sorry, checking. Regulation wins. Oh, that's regulation and overtime wins. My bad. Regulation wins 22 now.
Yeah, and
they are 20th.
And they're a playoff team. If you look at it league wide, if you just took regulation wins, they're bottom of the barrel.
Oh, sorry, excuse me, they're 30th.
But
because it doesn't change the ranking.
Yeah, but they're still in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Somehow they did enough to get it to the extra frame.
Right.
But just seeing that when you look at the stats that they only have 22 regulation wins and they're a playoff team.
So they have 22 regulation wins. Who is below them and who is above them?
Was Calgary below them?
Calgary is not. Calgary is actually above them by 4. They have 26 regulation.
See, that's crazy. And Calgary is like last place. I think Vancouver's last place. But so Vancouver's below them.
Yes, Vancouver is below them, and then there's one other team, and then the 2 teams above them are also eliminated.
I don't know who else. I mean, Chicago probably.
Chicago is below them by 1. They have 21 regulation wins.
And then everybody else is above them.
And everybody else is above them. Toronto, 23 regulation wins. And then the Rangers, 24 regulation wins.
Not to drag this out any longer, but does Toronto blow it up this summer?
Well, they are going to get a new GM, or at least a new president, and that means Berube is gone. So I would not be surprised if they move on. Maybe like a Rangers retool. They get rid of some pieces, but keep pieces there. I think it's going to be...
Does Austin Matthews bring back the Arizona Coyotes?
I think they're going to move on from Nylander. And maybe try to move Carlo and see what they can do. Because they have a lot of young talent, like Bo Grew. They've got Matthew Nyes. You've got Dakota Joshua, who had a resurgence there.
That's one of the things. They have pieces, but they don't have anybody to put it together.
That's why I think you get rid of Greg Berube. If you get rid of Berube and you bring in Cassidy. Bring in somebody.
I mean, I just feel like at this point you got to take a look at that core because you've had a handful of coaches that haven't done anything with it.
Do you move on from Matthews?
Is there something wrong with the core? I think so, because like they've done enough to get to the playoffs, and then you hit the playoffs and nothing.
Yeah, they've made the second round once in that entire stretch.
I think you could look at coaching, but they've changed coaches. They've changed GMs. And the same thing happens.
Well, and Dubas is in the playoffs.
So.
But why? Okay, why would you bring in Brad Treliving? Of any option available, why do you bring in a guy who literally destroyed the Calgary Flames?
Because Edmonton already got Bowman.
Oh, man. And then Ken Holland is in L.A. now. What is his obsession with Cody Ceci? That's the other thing.
I don't know.
That's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know. I would say yes, just depending because, I mean, they're not going to catch Montreal. Montreal is young, hungry, and really good. Dobesh, Hudson, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, you're set for a while with that core. And Dobesh has shown everybody what's coming. You have Buffalo with Ukko. With Darlene, who's had a nice resurgence this year. Power. You've got Tage Thompson, who, by the way, was a throw-in in the Ryan O'Reilly trade.
Yeah, that's so crazy to look back on trades like that. Like, oh, yeah, that was great.
That ends up being a win-win for both teams, shockingly. And also, I will say this. I know Alex will throw up when he hears me say this. I'm happy to see Utah in there because it proves that they were on the right track in Arizona. And then they added pieces. You bring in J.J. Paterka, who's had a huge turnaround for them. Sergachev coming in and being a key part of what's helped them develop.
It's just a damn shame they're about to waste 8 days.
Well, they got to play. They don't play us. They're the number one.
So they'll play.
They'll play whoever wins the Pacific.
Who knows who they'll play?
And we'll talk about that in more detail later on this week.
The pillow fight that is the Pacific Division.
I love the fact that McDavid said that because it's the most true statement ever.
Yeah, because I mean it's frustrating to look at the standings and be like half of the teams that are eliminated in the East would win the Pacific Division.
Correct. I think Toronto would even make it to the playoffs. On that note, 2 stars of the podcast. Who is your star of the podcast? Oh, by the way, Mika Kiprasov, Ed Belfour,
Marty Turco,
Felix Potvin, who got a mention in Daredevil Born Again. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
The guy goes, I love the Rangers. Potvin sucks. And I was like, Potvin played for Toronto and the Islanders, so it makes sense.
Speaking of the Rangers, fun fact, I think it's since 1966, I want to say. Fact check me later, but it's the first time in a very long time that the Rangers, the Devils, and the
Red Wings?
the couple of like New York area teams that all three of them have missed the playoffs.
Oh, the Islanders.
Yeah, it's the first time in 40 some odd years that all three of them have missed the playoffs.
Wow.
So there you go.
There you go. Fun fact.
Also, crazy baseball stat. I posted it on Instagram, so if you follow us there, you already saw it. But the Avs are one of, I think it's 6 teams now that from November 1st to the end of the season spent the entire time in first place.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
It's nuts and
That's awesome.
such a baseball-ass stat.
Yeah, that is a baseball-ass stat for sure. Similar to the Cole Caulfield deserves the Rocket Richard because he has no empty net goals.
Oh, yeah, we
got
a little time. I want to say something about that.
Oh, yeah, that's the one thing I forgot to bring up. Sorry. Let's continue.
The empty net thing. You could look at it as like, well, Caulfield's goals all got scored. Well, goalie was in the net. He doesn't have any empty net goals. And McKinnon has 7.
Oh, no.
Okay. Is that because your coach doesn't trust you to be out there at the end of the game defensively on a 6-on-5? That's not McKinnon's fault. Granted, he has gotten a lot better defensively the last couple seasons. But, like, I don't know. I think that says more about Caulfield's coach's trust in him in the last 2, 3, 4 minutes defensively than it does, McKinnon scored these empty netters.
Montreal fans will confirm that, by the way. Most comment chains that I've seen on the cesspool that is Reddit, on Instagram, a lot of them are saying it's because San Luis does not trust him to play those defensive minutes. He trusts Slavkovsky and Suzuki more comfortably.
Which
in those
is weird
situations.
because Suzuki never struck me as a crazy defensive forward.
And he's in Selke talks now, though.
But hey, here we are.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But I had to bring that up because it's driving me nuts. And I understand a little bit about it. But also when you look at it from an outside perspective, I think it's a trust issue that you're not out there to score the empty net goals.
Right. And then you also have to take into account the fact that a goal is a goal.
They don't ask how.
They just ask you how many. It's the same. It took me 55 minutes to bring this up. It's the same thing in soccer. Penalty kicks and corner kicks score the same number of fucking points as an open play goal.
Look, I don't care how it goes in.
Thank you. It doesn't matter.
Did it go in? I don't give a damn.
Like, they don't give own goals in hockey, so how many of Caulfield's goals went off of somebody else on the defensive side and went in? That's a baseball-ass stat.
Yeah.
That's who my star goes to, baseball-ass stats.
You're welcome for that little bring in at the end with that.
Because the baseball-ass stats aspect of sports is getting out of hand. Like, even in the NBA, it's like SGA has the most 25-point games when standing on his left foot, drawing 3 fouls in the final 2 minutes on a Saturday in December.
He's averaging 37 rebounds on 2 o'clock in the afternoon games on March 7th when the clock goes past 2:15. Like, fucking, what are we doing? Or like the people that pick out things where it's like, in the last 12 and a half games.
Why half?
Like, fucking what? What are we doing here? I understand it for like shutout streaks for goalies. I get it. That makes sense. You're counting minutes. And you're like, nobody's scored on this person because, it'd be 60 minutes. But then you see like 197. I was like, I get it though.
That's right, Secretary of Defense.
That I'll give you. But when you're like, in their last 13 games and 3.5 periods, no, don't do that to me.
Just
I draw the line a lot. It's a soft line, but it's a line at like, in day games they're this, or when they play on Easter they're undefeated.
Or like for football, it's like East Coast games. Like the Broncos like can't win at MetLife Stadium. Great. That's an irrelevant stat because we play them once every 5 years.
Yeah, it's like
You know.
it's like when you look at before the NHL had the conference. You play every team twice. It was like cool. Like the Avs never lost to Columbus when Columbus started in the first 9 years that Columbus was around.
Because we only played them once.
Didn't see them very much
Right.
at the beginning. So, I'll give you those, but yeah, when it's like, oh my God, okay, so the Avs can't beat Winnipeg on Saturday morning games in Winnipeg. Okay, who cares?
Right.
I don't need that kind of stat. Like, tell me what are they on back-to-backs in the second game of a back-to-back? That's a good stat. I like that. But I don't care. I don't care how many goals they've scored at 3:07 on Monday afternoon.
Right. On Martin Luther King Day.
Like, whatever.
Right. Okay, so mine is baseball ass stats. What is your star?
I think I'm going to give mine to the Walter Payton Group
Nice.
for hopefully beginning the trek to giving us a somewhat competitive baseball team. Because God, I want that more than anything.
Yes, please. With that being said, for Sean, I'm Michael. We are going to do our best to stream every postseason game this year for the Avalanche right here on the PesterLine podcast. If you like hearing our voices but don't like looking at our beautiful faces, you can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Music, and on Audible. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the fancy things to help us expand in this YouTube universe. And with that being said, I'm Michael, that's Sean, and this has been the PesterLine podcast.
Okay, love you. Bye.